What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. Sitting across from me this week and every week, since you have traveled so very far, be my guest and let me entertain you. It's Desra.
Let me entertain you. Okay, and sitting across from me is Brian Paul.
And every week on Why We Love PlayStation VR, we dip into the PSVR archive. We pull a game out at random.
Yes.
We play the crap out of it.
We should actually do that. I mean, it's just right before we film.
Oh, God. Like we surprise both of us?
Yeah.
Like, well, what if it's just one I didn't play? I don't think this exists. And then we dust the blow off of it. Ooh, I forgot to say that last week.
Yep.
And then and we see if it's been given any love by developers, if it's been given any DLC, any patches, updates, whatever, and then we let you know if it's worth your time.
Yeah.
That being said, what game did we decide to play this week, Desiree?
This week we talked about Crisis VRigade.
Crisis VRigade by Simulab Digital, released February 5th, 2019. Wow, that was really recently.
It was.
For $5.99.
Wow. So this is either going to be a fantastic value or a steaming pile. Stay tuned, kids.
Yeah, it could really go either way right now.
Yeah.
Before we even talk about the game, Simulab is a name that I think only recently came on the VR scene, and the last game that I'm familiar with them, or the only other game I'm familiar that they made, was another VR game that's also available for PSVR called Trainer VR.
Trainer VR, yes.
It's the VR model train kit game with a horrible name.
Yeah, which actually has a little cameo in this game, but we'll get to that later.
On a billboard.
Yeah.
Indeed. That being said, Des, what kind of game is Crisis VRigade?
Crisis VRigade. Yeah, that's VRigade.
Yeah.
Look, if you want us to talk about your game, you have to realize that there's only certain shapes my mouth can make.
They obviously don't want us to talk about this game.
Crisis VRigade.
They're like, here's one that they'll never talk about.
So it's a shooter. It's very much in the vein of your Time Crisis kind of game, where basically you pop into a situation and you shoot at bad guys and you duck behind cover. Lather, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, the thing about the Time Crisis games, I mean, and I'm like huge. I mean, obviously there's going to be bigger Time Crisis fans than I am, but the line I was going to say before that line was, I don't think there's a bigger Time Crisis fan than me, because it was so cool playing them in the arcades where you had the pedal, and the pedal would pop you in and out of cover.
Right.
But basically the game would take control of all of the locomotion. Like so, basically you were just standing there at a scene and. I played a little bit in the arcades, but mostly I used my gun contours, and so you hit the down on the D-pad. It's right there.
I always did the arcades pedal.
Yeah, no, my thumb really hurt after these games. down, but so you're popping in and out of cover. This game is very, very similar to that, where it says, okay, you're in this location. This is what you're doing. People are shooting at you. Stuff's happening, going down, and you better duck for cover. But there's no button to do it.
Right, you actually physically have to find cover.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, man, like, I talked a lot about Box VR, like what a great boxing, like, fitness game that is.
Yeah.
But man, if you want to do some squats.
Ooh, yeah.
I found myself all over my living room in this game. Like, I was on my hands and knees, like, way down, and like hiding behind every single virtual object I could find.
Yeah, I know I'm still now in without Parole Studio B, and I thought I cleared out plenty of space because I played Spark in there and been fine. We played Super Hot and been fine, and all of a sudden I'm banging into desks. Like, how am I even in this part of my room right now?
For sure.
Yeah, I haven't moved this much in playing VR, and I can't imagine. I can't tell you how long.
And there's something very, very great about the very first place that it puts you, because when you start this,
the setting is it's a shootout at a bank, and you're a member of a SWAT team. So the first setting is you are behind a squad car, right at the front stairs of the bank.
And I think it's a brilliant place to start the game, because it basically tells you everything you need to know right away. You're like, oh, I'm gonna to shoot this guy over here. I need to shoot through the back window of this car. Yeah, there's two guys in a school bus over here. I need to use the car door for protection. Right, protection. And I'll tell you right now, there is no perfection in this game. No, you die a lot.
Yeah. And that is, well, depending on how you feel about the game, a good thing or a bad thing. This is a game, when you fire it up, there are basically two choices: easy and hell.
And easy is pretty difficult.
Yeah,
and hell is impossible.
Yeah, one of the updates that came with the game, and I was, in doing my research for this, I was reading a lot of the launch reviews
Yeah.
and comments about it, and a lot of other reviews, and like these are because for me, I only started playing it recently. Okay, so I never played the original version of it, and I was like, all right, this is really hard, but it's fair. I don't feel like I'm being cheated.
Yeah.
But early reviews are like, oh, constantly getting cheated and getting hit. This sucks. Well, one of the things they added was actually a track. So the bullet that kills you, you can actually see the beam of kind of like light from where it came from.
Yeah.
And that is the difference between the people who's like, oh, this game sucks. Because before you didn't know where the shot came from.
Yeah.
But now you do, and you can see, oh, that's right. I didn't have cover there. You're right, game.
Yeah. I feel like I mentioned that in my original review because obviously that was a while ago. But also one thing I didn't like when the game first came out was that you'd get hit by that final bullet, and you wouldn't even know the game was over. Like there was no game over screen.
Oh, okay.
And so you're like because every time you get hit, like the screen kind of turns red and like you get muffled sounds and stuff, and so you didn't know that was your last hit, and so you're like trying to reload, and you're like, why can't I do anything? Why can't I? You're like, oh, because I died, and that makes dying extra frustrating. Yeah. But now there's a big you died or game over screen or whatever, and it's like very very clear. So big kudos to Sumo Lab for fixing. I mean, I think all of our complaints from the original review.
And that's the thing, though. Like, it does turn the game from hard and unfair to hard and fair. it's still really freaking hard.
Now there is more to the story, though.
Yes.
They changed the AI in this new update, and the change that they made was to make them. They say more fair.
Okay.
But also you really have to like when you pop out of cover, you have to take your shots and get back into cover.
Yes.
Because they basically say if you stay out of cover too long, you are dead. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like and so if you were like popping in and out of cover pretty leisurely before, now you got to do it twice as much. You pop up, shoot, boom, down. Like there's no question that's what you have to do.
Well, and I think that gets to being a little more realistic. I mean, the art style of this game is very much not realistic. It's kind of Minecrafty. Actually, if anything, it reminded me of Just in Time, but with a little more detail. But as far as like, if you think about what it would actually be to be in a firefight, there's you and a gun and 9 guys with semi-automatic weapons.
Right.
You don't have a second chance. Like if you pop your head out, someone's gonna get you. So I see and appreciate that. My bigger issue is the bank level. Let's say, is set up with a bunch of mini levels between it. And there's kind of branching paths, so you can, choose like which way you want to work your way through the bank.
Which definitely adds a ton of replayability.
It does add some replayability, and it definitely, like, tactically you can see there's advantages to going one way over the other. But if you die at any point, you don't just reload that one little section. You start all the way over at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And even that's not so bad, but just the load times are just annoyingly long, I think. I don't mind. If I'm gonna die a lot, like if that's your mechanic as part of your game, that's cool. Like I'm not questioning that. I'm questioning now I have to wait. Like you get that game over screen, and just the game over screen itself is really long, surprisingly long.
Interesting, because now you are playing on the original PS4.
Yes.
And I'm playing on the Pro.
Yes.
And I've died hundreds of times in this game. Mm-hmm. In the load times were never something that I even thought about.
Okay.
I was like, man, I can't wait to get back into this. And it would be a few seconds and bam, bam, back in. All right, cool.
Yeah, no, it was for me, there's a noticeable delay.
Interesting.
So maybe it is a
we should do a comparison.
Yeah. Like even Super Hot, like that's another game where it's kind of annoyingly like I make my way through 3 of 5 steps and I die and I have to go all the way back to the beginning. But even then the load seemed to be a little snappier than this. So
the other thing that we're not telling you, which I guess maybe we should have started with, is that this bank heist level starts with a countdown, a 7-minute timer clock down.
Yes.
Clock timer countdown, I don't know, whatever. And so you're like, oh, this is a 7-minute game. I got to beat it in 7 minutes. And so the fact that I've poured so many hours into this game.
Yeah.
And it feels impossible, right? Even on the normal difficulty. Like I've beaten the normal difficulty 1 time.
Okay.
And like I feel like I got real lucky when I did that. 7 minutes. It's a 7-minute game, and it took me 4 hours to beat it.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah. You're going to be playing these levels a lot, and I read another reviewer saying like this wouldn't be better if the the bad guys were randomly placed. I'm like, no, because I need to know where they are, because there's no way I'm going to get through this.
Yeah, I mean, with any good light gun shooter, it's like the more you play it, the more like you start memorizing the stages and remembering where things are. So no, I'm very happy. That
there's one like I think it's like second floor office where like I remember, there's a guy in the window here and a guy in the window here.
Yeah,
and it's even though you know that, it's easy to forget about this one. Next thing you know, he's the one who gets you. So now I make sure every time I hit there, first thing I do, bing, bing, take those guys out.
And I mean, and just like Super Hot, knowing what you have to do to accomplish the mission to complete the stage makes you feel like a badass.
Yes.
Because there's no way that anyone's going to do this on their first try. But slowly you start learning each of the stages, and slowly you're like, bam, 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 next stage. And it feels really, really good once you've gotten it down. That said, getting to that point
is really hard.
Is going to determine our score and what you think of this game. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and so we probably should have started with this too. We're saying that a lot lately. You have tons of options to control this game.
Every option. I think.
Basically, yeah. If it can attach to your PlayStation, you can pretty much use it. So you've got the DualShock. You can use the Move controllers, and you can use the aim controller.
And the best part about that is it's different for every controller.
It is, yeah. And the Move controllers, basically, which is probably I think going to be the default for most people.
I went back and forth.
Yeah.
Once I discovered it had aim support, I did a lot of that, and I loved the feeling of that. But I keep reverting to the dual moves.
Okay, yeah. And so it's basically one hand you'll have 9mm. Basically your typical. Well, it has way more rounds than a 9mm should. And then you load and reload the gun by actually dropping the clip, picking one up off your belt, putting it in, and pulling out but I don't know if you had this issue that I did. Because you're moving around so much, it's very easy for those Move controllers to get out of range, and suddenly like I'm fumbling with my belt trying to load. So there is an auto reload option.
Yeah, so two things. One, just like you said at the beginning of this episode, this seems to require more space than almost any other game I've played.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to push my couch back. I have to clear out, all the sides and everything so that the camera can see me at all times. Right. Because, man, if you're suddenly like reaching down and like out of the camera range or whatever, So keep that in mind. The other thing is, I hate the auto reload because it takes such a long time, like jamming on the button, I'm like, come on, reload. And so like when I have control over it and I can do it faster, I mean, that's the trade-off. You can definitely reload yourself much faster, but you have to do it.
Right. And for me, it was more of like, I'm sitting there fumbling. Like, I don't know how many times I got shot while I was just fumbling with, because again, we've had other games where there's been that like physical reload, but since it's not really physical, you don't get the feedback of, oh, is the clip actually in? Yeah. And so you're dropping it. Crap. So I ended up, it is a trade-off, but I ended up making the decision for, I'd rather be reliably slow than unreliably quick.
And I'm the other way. I would definitely be unreliably quick. I feel like there are so many sexual innuendos going on right now. We're just gonna go right past them. Totally.
Does anyone want unreliably quick out of their partner?
I mean, some people don't have an option. I'm totally cutting.
So the other control screen is the aim controller.
Yeah.
In which case you upgrade to, it's, there's probably some gun nerd out there who can tell me exactly what kind of gun it is, but it's basically a semi-automatic burst fire sort of rifle. I don't think it's quite as accurate as the pistol, but you get, a lot more rounds and a little bit more spray and pray.
Yeah. Just before we totally get away from the dual move support here, what I do love about it is that with the move controller, I do feel like I am like sometimes doing blind firing.
Yeah.
And so like I'm able to just do that with one hand, which is way easier than using the aim controller for blind firing.
Right.
But on top of that, if you aren't blind firing and you're like, you have a sight on your enemy, sometimes it's like it's so crazy that it's easy to get immersed in this world.
Yes.
Because even though it looks like a cartoon, and so like I think it's the very second part of the first level where you suddenly are inside of the bank.
Yeah.
And there's like this like marble statue or pillar or something.
Yeah.
In a wall. And if you look between those two things, you can pick off some of the guys.
Oh yeah, they can pick you off too.
they can for sure. And so if you have sight on that guy, then you can use your other hand that doesn't have the gun in it to steady your gun hand.
Yeah.
And so then suddenly your recoil is less and your accuracy is higher, which, man, it's an incredible feeling because if it's two very different ways to play the game.
And, we haven't mentioned this yet either. As you go through, I'm not quite sure if it's because you have a lot of kills in succession or because they're headshots. It doesn't really give you any feedback, but occasionally you'll unlock these upgrade options.
Oh, I just considered them totally random.
No, because I don't think it's quite totally random because, like, there would be... I go like ping, 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 3 headshots in a row, and suddenly reliably I'd have something. So I think there is some kind of reward for skill, but the game is not very clear about what you're doing that's giving you these perks.
Right.
So one of them will be health, which is crucially amazing when it happens.
Yeah.
And it's very rare. But the other are different gun options. Like there's a AK-47, M16, some kind of a submachine gun, but the difference between them is pretty much just in firing patterns, not necessarily in power.
Right.
Like pretty much any shot with any weapon will kill the bad guys. Right. And you can hit them in the kneecaps and they'll die just as much as a headshot.
And when you get, if you're using the move controllers, when you get those guns, they are two-handed weapons, so you can still fire with one, but then your recoil is going to be insane.
Yeah.
Or you can just click. There you go. Okay, now you're good. But again, suddenly blind firing is more difficult.
Yeah.
So it's always this like trade-off that you're dealing with the entire game. Did you play much with the DualShock 4?
No, I didn't play with it at all.
It's don't do it if you don't have to. Right. It totally works.
Yeah.
It's just no fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. There are people out there who play Firewall with the DualShock 4, so like maybe I shouldn't say much.
Yeah, well, I mean,
we're real good at
people
this
who are wrong about all sorts of things.
This is true. Interesting.
And you can send your responses to Desra at Twitter.
And 7 people just unsubscribed. And those are all 7 people who still use the DualShock 4 for Firewall. There's no locomotion options because there is no locomotion.
No.
The game literally takes you from section to section, usually blacks out and shows you how much time is left before. We didn't say why there's a time.
Oh, yeah. I was going to mention, you talk about blind firing a lot.
Yeah.
Is that how you discovered there were bombs?
Yep. I blew up the entire building. There's like TNT and stuff, like, or maybe C4. I don't know. It's like just strapped to the walls randomly.
Yes.
And if you accidentally shoot that,
don't just blind fire. Like, peek out, look in the general area, make sure there's no bombs there, then go crazy. But because if you shoot one of those, the entire place will blow up.
It's all over. Yeah. So be super careful with that. But the building is rigged to blow. This is. I hate to like even make fun of the premise of this game.
Yeah.
Because this is every action movie ever made.
Yeah.
Right. There are like 1,400 terrorists or whatever you want to say, or like I don't know if they're terrorists or if they're just people who decided to take over the building, or if they're all just they need the money. But it's a bank heist, right?
Yeah.
And there's like 1,400 of them. Even if there's like $1 million in the bank vault, they're all going home with like $25 each.
Yeah. So that wasn't the bank isn't even as bad. It's the next level that it's even worse.
Okay. Well then hold on a second.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about the next level. And the next
ambush
level,
pier, or something like.
Yeah, I think so. Port ambush.
Port ambush. That's right.
And this didn't exist
when
the game came out. So the game came out. It's $5.99. They said, but it's only one level. It's only one stage. It's a 7-minute game that'll take you hours to beat. And I was like, all right. I mean, like I can totally get behind this. It's awesome. And then, like out of the blue, they're like, oh, by the way, we just doubled the size of the game, and we just added it as an automatic update to the game. It's not DLC. You don't have to pay for it. And then, so you drop into it and you start the game up, and basically they say, okay, here's your new level.
Yeah.
But to unlock it, you need to get 50,000 points on level 1.
Yeah.
How difficult was that?
Not very, actually.
Really?
Yeah. When you told me that, I was like, because honestly, I was dreading going into this game because from what you were saying, like I knew nothing about this going into it.
Yeah.
I just knew the name, and I knew Brian had said it was really, really hard to unlock the DLC. I was like, crap, my third run through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I will tell you, I'm telling tales out of school.
Yeah.
But man, there are some people with respected YouTube channels out there that we were talking when the DLC dropped.
Yeah.
And they were freaking out. Being like, I can't get to 50K. I guess I'm never going to be able to play level 2. Huh. It's like, that's actually hilarious.
Yeah. I will say, like, it sounds like Odessa's bragging. Like, I haven't beat it yet either.
Yeah, okay.
But for me, getting to 50,000, I can kind of do that pretty reliably now.
Nice.
So I don't know. Maybe there's.
So you start the game up after the patch drops.
Yes.
And not only did you double the size of the game, and you're able to select port ambush, but you also get a shooting gallery. Shooting range.
Shooting range.
I've been saying shooting gallery every single time I say
it. Not really.
And it's interesting, man.
Yeah.
Like you set up your target, and then you can choose from any of the guns that you want, and then you shoot the crap out of it. And I think it's less about shooting reliably, and more about practice reloading.
Yeah, practice reloading and practicing, like, using your arm study and kind of just the shooting mechanics, getting a chance to like try those out without being shot at.
Yeah, like it's a very simple addition.
Yeah,
but I'm like super happy they added it. It makes it feel like more of a fleshed out game. But let's talk about port ambush.
Port ambush, yeah. This is, and I think I mentioned it already. This is where it gets really crazy. Like, there are just so many of these bad guys, and they do something that the bank level does a couple times, but you load into a level and there's someone right here. Yeah. And which is really intimidating because there's always a little bit of a delay between when the level loads and when you actually can start.
That's true.
And so you've got like a moment, and you're just sitting there pulling the trigger, nothing's happening, and he's right there.
Yep.
I will say it is very fair about that. They don't you're not dead as soon as it starts. Like, you have a moment to take out the closest targets, but it's pretty intense.
And I think port ambush is way more intense than the bank heist.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know if like the developers just kind of got more comfortable, like, with level design or maybe programming.
Yeah.
But man, there's like car crashes and like just stuff kind of happening all around you, like big explosions and stuff. Where like the bank heist is like just you kind of like making your way through the bank. Right. So I was assuming this was just going to be like, okay, now you're going to go through a different building.
Yeah.
But man, I feel like they really mixed things up with this. And
it's a very different environment. At one point you're on a boat. Well, depending on which path you choose, you end up on a boat going on the pier, and then like they're just kind of running up off the pier at you, and you're going to shoot them and hope you get them, because if you don't, they can still be up there, and now you don't have a beat on them, but they can get you. And yeah, it's just a really nice change of pace after you've been doing the same bank level over and over and over again.
Yeah. What do you think of the audio design in this game?
I think they use the same audio sample for reloading as actually not reloading, as an empty clip as Superhot did.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it sounds exactly the same.
It's very possible.
It's very high pitched, ching. Overall, fine. I didn't. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is the best sound I've ever heard, but it wasn't lacking anything.
Yeah,
I think for me, sound design is one of those, when it's good, you don't notice it, and I didn't notice it.
I think it definitely has like at the right moments, like the music is like intense and everything like that, and it doesn't overpower the game. Yeah. I will say, I mean, the sound of just like non-stop bullets. Yeah. I mean, there's non-stop bullets coming at you, so it's right, appropriate. So, yeah. But man, it is overwhelming, I think, at certain points. But also, they added somebody on your radio.
Oh, that wasn't there before?
That was not there before.
Oh, those must have been glorious days.
And it was very nice. It was very nice before the voices were added. I would like an option to turn them off, or at least only get half of the voiceovers. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's very passive aggressive, sort of. I think trying to be funny in some cases, but really with a game this intense. Yeah. It's hard for me. Like, I love humor in games, and I love dark humor, but it's just like, no, I'm trying to be as good as I possibly can here, and I don't really need to hear, I thought you were ready. You shouldn't have started if you weren't ready.
Yeah, it's annoying as hell. Yeah. So quit it. All right, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. If anyone can beat this thing on hell mode, man, mad props to you. I don't know how you did it.
I think
it's intense, man. It's so insanely intense.
Yeah. Well, the hell mode, you basically is just one shot and you're dead.
Yeah, the difficulty doesn't actually change.
Right.
You just don't have any leeway.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's rate this sucker.
Sure.
Okay.
So our rating scale is pretty simple. One is you have to buy this game. If you have a PSVR, it belongs in your library. It's just one of the best for the system. 2 is, sure, why not? If it's a genre you particularly like, or if it's on a decent sale and you got some money burning a hole in your pocket, go ahead, pick it up. 3 is no. Friends don't let friends buy crap. We need to vote with our wallets and tell developers that we deserve better. Mm-hmm. So 1, 2, or 3, what do you think?
I started this episode by talking about how much I love Time Crisis.
Yes.
Right. And I would kill. Not really. Don't. Man, some
That's
days,
awful.
Someday somebody's going to use this footage as like like testimony or something. I would kill for a Time Crisis game in VR. It'd be unbelievable. Come on, Namco, get on that. Mm-hmm. At one point, this game made me so mad.
Yeah.
I mean, and I do get mad when I play games. Okay. I've had the neighbors call the cops on me before because they thought I was in an abusive relationship during my dirt rally days.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't pretty. But so I get mad and I yell and I scream and I say awful things to my television or the things in my headset. I get very angry. I love video games, but they have a way of getting under my skin. Okay. Never in my life have I had a physical reaction to the way I've had in this game. Oh. At one point, after dying and hearing those voiceovers over and over and over and over, and just getting so frustrated, I literally shook. I was shaking so hard that I took the wrist straps off my move controls and like threw them to the ground and like had to convince myself not to throw the PSVR headset along with it because I was like raging so hard. I've never had this reaction in my entire life. Okay. This game's one, man. No other game on the face of the planet has ever made me do that before. Like, not to this degree. Yeah. And if you can make me do that, but then 2 minutes later go, I need to give that another shot. Yeah. It's a 1. Yep. It's a 1. And here's the other thing. Kudos to the developer. Like, my hat's off to you. You guys could have left this as one level and been like, yo, give us our $6. And I would have been fine with that. I reviewed this game with one level, no shooting range, for $6 and was like, yeah, you need this game. Yeah. They doubled the size of it, added the shooting range, and said, hey, you know what? We're also going to give you another level. Yeah. It's coming soon. We don't know if we have to pay for it yet. But like they easily could have been like, hey, for $6 more, here's the other half of this game. Mm-hmm. But they didn't do that. Nope. And so if this game was $20 and it only came with one level, I'd be like, we're having a different discussion right now. Yeah. But holy crap, man, this is like one of the best deals on PlayStation VR. Mm-hmm. It's a 1.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, for $6, like, R2 is, if it's a genre you like, if it's on sale. Even if it's a genre you don't like, you got a friend somewhere who will like this game, pay the $6 and buy it. Yeah. It's absolutely worth every single penny. On top of that, R3 is, we need to punish developers and vote with our wallets. We need to reward developers and vote with our wallets. Like you said, this is a team we already released a game for $6, never promised anything else, delivered a whole nother level. There's another one coming. Yeah, dude, give $6. Really? Like, skip a latte for a day. Right. Oh my God. Like, how much value do you want out of $6?
And also, if you get it today, I think the sale ends literally.
Oh yeah, there's like a 30 cents off. Well, because it's a percent sale,
20% off or something, and so it's like $4.50. Yeah. So I mean, whatever. Just buy it, man. It's so cheap.
It is super intense. It is very difficult. I'm not going to say it's not. But you know what? So let's go back to another notoriously difficult game, Dick Wild. Okay. Dick Wild. I feel like it's just there's no way I can do this. This is overwhelming. This is just on the edge of like, I know I can do this. Yeah. Just give me one more time. It's right there. Like higher levels of Dick Wild, it's like, oh fuck no. Yeah. This is never going to happen. No, there's no version of Dez that will ever be able to beat this level. With this, it's like right teetering on the edge of like, oh, I got it this time.
I think that 7-minute timer is a brilliant addition to the game because no matter how frustrating it gets, you're like, all I need to do is really just make some solid progress and survive for 7 minutes. Yeah. Right? You're like, how hard could that possibly be?
Really hard.
And it's really hard. but there's an end and it has to be soon because the game's only 7 minutes. Yeah. So I think that's a brilliant addition to the game. Mm-hmm. No, I absolutely love this and I can't. And yeah, no, we need to give them our money for this because our trainer VR review is going to be much, much different. Yeah. So sorry guys.
Sorry guys. Yeah. Oh, and that's, I don't know if you mentioned it specifically, that's the Easter egg, I guess. The very first level of the bank, there's a billboard that has Trainer VR. So, hey.
So let us know what you thought of Crisis Brigade.
Brigade.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
I like VRigade.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Did you buy it when it was just one level? Did you buy it when it was 2 levels? Have you not bought it yet? What is wrong with you? Do you hate video games that much that you're not going to buy it?
You hate fun, don't you?
Well, I mean, I think I took it way past fun, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, for another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR, I'm Brian Paul.
I'm Des.
And we'll see you next week.